boys. Last episode, we did Diary of a Wimpy Kid Meltdown, Chapter 1, so this is Chapter 2. Tuesday. Well, I thought it was in the clear, but I was wrong. My social studies teacher sent a note home to my parents that said I had to do my international showcase project again. So Mom said I can't watch TV or play video games until I finish. I figured I'd probably get this thing done by Saturday, but it wouldn't matter anyways. That's because Mom is making me and my brothers have screen-free weekends. Mom thinks us kids are addicted to electronics and they're the reason why we misbehave. So she started this new policy where we're not allowed to use any electronics on Saturdays and Sundays, and we have to find other ways to entertain ourselves. What really stinks is when Mom catches us behaving on the weekends. She thinks it's proof that screen-free weekends are working. So lately, me and Roderick have been remembering to misbehave on Saturdays and Sundays so Mom doesn't think her no electronic policy is working. And Manny joins in too, because I guess he likes to do whatever his big brothers are doing. Mom says kids these days don't know how to interact with one another, because they're always staring at their screens. So she's been working with me and Roderick on our social skills. One of the things Mom's been trying to do is get me to look her dead in the eye while I'm talking to her. I can do it for a little while, but after a few seconds it just gets weird. So tell me about your day. It was fire. The latest thing Mom's been making me do is practice handshaking with Dad, but that's awkward for the both of us. Mom wants me to branch out and make more friends in the neighborhood, but I'm already friends with Rowley, and he's all I can really handle for now. Fancy spot of tea. Even though there's a ton of kids on my street, I really can't see being friends with any of them. I already feel like I'm making an exception for Rowley, and the options go downhill from here. Our house is halfway up Surrey Street, and Rowley's house is near the top. Sometimes it's a pain to even go to see him, because I have to pass by Fregley's house to do it. And 9 times out of 10, Fregley's hanging out in his front yard. Betcha I can find your tickle spot. Across the street from Fregley is Jacob Hoff, but he almost never comes outside because his parents are always making him practice the clarinet. And on either side of Jacob is an Ernest, Gertrude, and Gabriel Johns, who are in my grade. Ernest and Gabriel are nice kids and all, but they both have really bad breath, so those are too perfect for each other. Two doors down from me is David Marsh, who's really into karate. He's best friends with Joseph Rocker and always doing stuff to get himself injured. Next door to Joseph is Mitch Pickett, and who makes a killing selling pre-made snowballs in the winter. And mark my words, one day that kid's going to be a millionaire. Mitchell lives next to a boy 1 year younger than me, who everybody calls Speed Bump, but people steer clear of him because his 2 older brothers are already in jail. There's a kid named Purvis Gentry who has a tree house in his backyard and spent his summers solving neighborhood crimes, but most of the time the person responsible is Speed Bump. There's a duplex 3/4 of the way down the hill, and 2 families who live in there hate each other. I could never keep the kids in that house straight, but I know one of them is named Gino because he has a tattoo on his arm even though he's only like 7 years old. There's a boy who lives with his grandmother a few doors down, and his name is Gibson. Everybody calls him Baby Gibson because no matter how much time goes by, he never seems to get any older. For all I know, Baby Gibson is 32 years old, and he's got kids of his own. There's a play group of preschoolers that gets together twice a week at Mrs. Jimmins' house. I don't know which kids are hers and which ones are her friends. What I do know is those kids are totally out of control, and the moms don't really seem to care. There are some older kids on our street too. Anthony Dennard is a sophomore in high school, and he just started shaving, but he got carried away with the razor blade and accidentally shaved off one of his eyebrows. Anthony drew it back on with a brown marker, but he didn't do a good job, and now half of his face looks surprised. Anthony's best friend is Sheldon Rice, who tried to make money plowing plowing the neighbor's driveway the first time it snowed this winter. But Sheldon doesn't have his license yet, and he did a lot of damage in our neighborhood before his dad found out his son was using his truck. A few doors down from me are the Garza twins, Jeremy and Jameson, who made up their own language when they were toddlers. And when those two are together, no one could understand a word they say. Grunt, click, whistle. Smack, smack, cluck, whistle. There are a bunch of girls on my street too, but they're just as bad as the guys. Marley sisters live across from Riley's house, and all 5 of them were born within a few years of each other. I don't know what their deal is, but those girls just randomly attack people who come on their yard. Amelia Greenwald lives a few doors down from the Marley sisters. Amelia dresses like a princess, and I think she's seen too many Disney movies. Follow your dreams. Latricia Hooks lives in one-story house across from the duplex, and she's a 6'2" high school junior. Roderick won't go anywhere near Latricia because she used to bully him when he was my age. Latricia's sister Victoria is in love with Ernesto Gertrude for some reason, and Victoria's best friend Evelyn Trimble dresses like a vampire. In fact, I'm pretty sure Evelyn thinks she is a vampire, which is one reason I'm glad I don't ride the bus anymore. Hiss. I haven't even mentioned half the kids who live on my hill, but if I went down the whole list, it'd take forever. Mom always asks me why I'm not friends with anyone at the bottom of the hill, even though I've told her a million times that that'll never happen. Surrey Street's divided into 2 halves. There's the upper Surrey Street, which is the hill, and there's the lower Surrey Street, which is the flat part of the bottom. And even though we all live at the same street, the hill kids and the non-hill kids can't stand one another. Living on the hill is no fun. First of all, it's really far from the school, and that last stretch at the end of the day is no joke, especially when it's hot like it has been lately. The worst thing about living on the hill is there's not a lot you can do on it, and if you wanted to play ball, you could forget about it. But the kids live at the bottom of the hill have it made. Their part of this is flat, so they can do whatever they want down there. That's why all the athletes come from the lower Surrey Street. The thing is, the kids who live at the bottom of the Surrey Street think they own it, and if any of us hill people come down there to play, the lower Surrey Street kids won't let us. In fact, the reason it took me 4 years to learn how to ride a bike was because I had to do it in 5-second spurts. But when it snows, the tables are turned. All of a sudden, the lower Surrey Street kids want to use our hill for sledding. But that's when we give those guys a taste of their own medicine. Most of the time, we can keep the Surrey Street kids off the hill, but they're sneaky, and sometimes they slip past us. Last winter, a bunch of the lower Surrey Street kids brought the same winter gear as the hill, and it was weeks before any of us caught on. If you live on Surrey Street, you're either a hill kid or a non-hill kid, and there's no switching sides. There's a kid named Trevor Nix who lived on the hill until last summer, which is when his family moved to a bigger house at the bottom of the street. But the kids down there still consider Trevor a hill person, so they don't let him play on the street. Us hill kids think of him as a traitor for moving, and we won't let him sled in the winter. So now Trevor's basically stuck indoors year-round. There's a lot of bad blood between the upper Surrey Street kids and the lower Surrey Street kids, which is why we can't be friends. But whenever I try to explain the situation to my mom, she doesn't get it. In fact, none of our moms get on the street, do. They're all friends with each other, and they have no clue what's really going on. Lately, though, things have been pretty calm on our street. Us hill kids have been keeping our side, and the other guys have been keeping theirs. But if there does something stupid, the whole place is gonna blow.